Oh, mine says 4, really? Mine says 4:01. That's why I started.
Well, Verizon says 3:09, but here we go. Good afternoon. My name is Nancy Hill. I'm the chair of the Parks and Arts Commission, and welcome to our Parks and Arts Commission meeting. It's Monday, July 10 at 4 p.m. Do the call to order and the roll call. Members, Commissioner Himba. Present.
Here.
Commissioner Frank.
Present.
Commissioner Chamberlain.
Present.
Commissioner Barr. Anyone on Zoom?
No.
Okay, absent. Commissioner LaParca.
Present.
Commissioner Schneidmiller.
Present.
All right, we're on to agenda item 3, approval of the June 5th, 2023 minutes. Did everyone have a chance to take a look? Any corrections or additions?
I move to approve the June 5th meeting minutes.
Okay.
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor? Opposed? So the meeting minutes are approved. We'll move on to citizen comments. Any citizen comments today?
Any citizens online that would like to make a comment?
All right. Seeing none, we'll move on to item 5, unfinished business. You'll see, commissioners, I just signed up. There's a sheet going around. If you can sign up for Barefoot in the Park. Jen, did you have anything to add?
No, just pick some slots in there. You're going to be teamed up with the Community Engagement Commission. So between the two commissions, we should have good coverage. It's, I think, going to be a double booth with double tables, and you can each set up. I think last year we set up those that trifold frame with photos of some of the projects. So we can put Parks and Arts on one side and community engagement on the other side, but be together.
Right, so hopefully we can cover the entire time from 9 to 4 on that day through your volunteer efforts, and then we can work side by side with the Community Engagement Commission. And it would be great, Jen, if we could have that trifold. Maybe we could add a picture of the mural that's upcoming to show what we're going to be doing in Pavilion Park. And is there anything else that we've added this last year? We don't really have enough for
The trash barrel, we could put the trash barrels and the snow plows on there.
That's perfect, because I think we had more room on the board to add maybe as many as 3 pictures. You'll have to take a look.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, awesome. Thank you so much. Any questions or input about the event? And we're gonna do the rock painting again?
Yes.
Okay, that's always fun.
And I think, do you want to talk about the rock painting and what we're going to do with the rocks afterwards?
Oh, yeah, there was a suggestion from a community member, I think. I saw an email where people paint the rocks, and then someone has to paint the head of a snake on a rock. And then you make kind of a snake out of all the rocks. And we were thinking possibly under the story walk at Rocky Hill, because it needs to be a place where it won't interfere with mowing. And I suppose people painting can contribute to that, and if little kids want to take their rock with them, then they certainly can. I don't know if we have a volunteer to paint the head of the snake on a larger rock, but
Not yet, but I'm sure somebody will.
maybe if we find a larger rock and we can get an artist walking by the booth and have them volunteer, right? Anyway, it's kind of a cute idea from a citizen, so I don't see any harm in following through with that. Okay, we'll move on to our action and discussion items along with presentations, item 6. So first up, we have Smarty Signs, and it's Remy on Zoom.
Yeah, and you're on mute. Can you, there we go.
Oh, yes, Remy Salami.
Great. Welcome. We're so happy to have you here, and we're looking forward to hearing your presentation on the Smarty Signs.
Great. Thank you for inviting me. Now, can I share my screen, or how do you want to do this?
Yeah, hang on, let me stop my share here. And actually, I have it right there.
Okay, great. So I guess you can just go ahead and go through the slides for me. So my name is Ramiz Salami. I am a speech language pathologist. I work for a company called Smarty Symbols. And Smarty Symbols is a company that provides visual supports for children and people with special needs. So we have a large software platform that we provide for people who work in clinics, hospitals, and schools to help provide tools for children who need speech therapy, and also just for anybody who needs that support for communication purposes. Our Playground Communication Boards was an initiative started by our CEO, Barbara Fernandez. Barbara is founded this company. She also has a son with autism. And she really started this because she wanted to provide a local communication board for her local playground. And so that's kind of where our vision for this started. We've had the software for years, but our Playground Communication Boards is really, it's somewhat of a new initiative. It's not a new idea. They've been around for quite a while, but they've really taken off due to their unique nature. A communication board is a composition of images that are on a board, whether it's made out of a specific type of material, and it's to support communication by pointing to or touching multiple images. And communication boards are used by children or even adults with limited verbal communication. The reason why somebody would need something like this is likely they may have already like an electronic form of communication, especially children. But what normally happens is when they go to the playgrounds, whether it's at school at recess or within their local communities, they usually don't bring their electronic communication devices, because these are often very dedicated, very expensive pieces of equipment that, you know, you need to have a specialized person to come out to kind of test you for it and to be able to purchase and identify what you need. So a lot of times children won't take these on the playground, because if it gets broken, it's a unique device that is hard or difficult to replace. Could we go to the next screen? So the benefits of a communication board, and I will have some pictures later on in my slides just so you can have a visual cue of what they look like. The benefits are for inclusion, awareness, learning, and communication. Next slide. So there are several steps to building a communication board. This is something that most speech pathologists are able to do. I don't see the average person living in a community being able to do this. However, it is something that if you are interested, you could totally do it on yourself. But we do have a specific steps that we take to produce your communication board. And because we are language specialists, we're able to do this, I believe, in the most effective way possible so that we can have something that is functional for your citizens. Next slide. As you're looking at our communication boards, this is just one small piece I kind of wanted to highlight. You will see that the communication board has pictures, little squares with pictures on it. And it's either the background or the words themselves have different colors. And when we identify the parts of speech, we assign them a color. So what we use is called a modified Fitzgerald key over there to the left. So just so you know, as you're looking at those boards, those colors are not randomly selected. You know, adjectives would be blue, and important function words like no or yes would be red. We have core words. So core vocabulary is vocabulary that is found generally within our normal everyday language. And then we have fringe words, and fringe words are vocabulary that is specific to the environment that you're in. So for example, on the communication board for a playground, you're going to have your core words, but your fringe words would be things like slide, maybe ball, hot, thirsty, things like that, that would be specific to concepts that you might want to express in a public environment like that. Our boards also come with the alphabet on it because, of course, we can't possibly put every single word in the English language or Spanish on there. So the alphabet is also included for people who are higher functioning and are able to spell words as well. Next. So one of the things we really pride ourselves on is our ability to customize your board. So the boards really come, we can have the name and title. We offer a color choice to match your logo. So if you have a park logo, you can have that on your board as well. And you can have the background of your board match either your logo, or if you have specific colors that your city uses for their representation, we can have that as well. We offer our boards in a few different sizes. We offer English and a bilingual board, so that's Spanish, English. We actually have a Hawaiian board now because we recently produced a playground communication board for Maui, Hawaii. And I work with the Parks and Rec director there. His name is Richard. And what happened was after he had his board installed, there was such positive reviews across the island. People were asking him, well, why did you only choose 10 words? So, and in our process of producing the boards, we chose to only have 10 words customized. So all of the words were English, but we chose 10 that we would use the Hawaiian language for. So aloha, that was one of them. And basically his citizens were really interested in having a board that was fully bilingual in the Hawaiian language. So he reached out to me like within a week and asked if we could produce another board for a separate playground within their community and have that one be completely bilingual. So we have the ability, if needed, to provide your board in another language other than English based on the demographics of your city and your playgrounds. We offer our boards in aluminum, plastic, and wood. For Parks and Rec, I would highly recommend aluminum. I know some of the questions that I normally get during a question answer session really have to do with durability. So aluminum is, of course, very durable, as we all know. And we also have the question of graffiti. So, you know, I can't prevent graffiti, but I can do some things to help kind of mitigate it, such as having like a protective coating that's easily cleaned and things like that. And some other things we can do with your board as far as customizations are that if you have unique play areas, such as you see here, we are able to take a picture of it or have you send a picture, and we have a graphic designer on board who helps us with our playground communication boards, and they're able to generate a graphic image that represents that unique play area. Next. So this is just an example of one of the boards that we did in Hawaii. And this slide is really just about add-ons. There are a lot of different things that you could do with your communication board. So for Maui, he decided to actually add a place structure on the back of his board. So it kind of had two functions. The front was the actual communication board portion, and then the back had something that kids could play with as well and manipulate, you know, just for learning or helping to improve sensory or motor skills. We have we've explored things like providing low vision supports with the boards, if that's something that's within your community that's a need. Our boards have instructions on how to use it. Of course, we have numbers. We can really do a lot of things with the board. And we also have the ability, should you decide it's something you're interested in, to provide a QR code, which I think would be an important piece, because that QR code could possibly link to a copy of the board or something else that you might be interested in. So if a parent or somebody was there at your playground, they could maybe scan the QR code and they could get like a digital image of the board on their device to take home with them, so that it's something that they can use elsewhere as well. Next. And these are just some examples of installation that is a big question that comes up for Parks and Rec. We do provide some installation structures if that's something that you're interested in. But previously we have a lot of places still like to provide their own installation because every location and every demographic is different, as well as every budget is different too. So based on what your playground looks like, based on your location, you have a lot of different options, from something as inexpensive as you see in the very middle top portion of the slide there. That board, I believe, was installed on the fence using zip ties, which is super economical. And it's also a portable option, you know, in case you want to move it, or if, I don't know, I think this is a school, so they possibly have the option of taking it down for the summer and then putting it back up during the school year. But there are a lot of different installation options for you to be able to have a board in your local playgrounds. Next. Okay, so moving past the playgrounds, as you think about your city and what you offer to your citizens, to your patrons, to people who are coming to visit you, we provide playground communication boards for, we have a library board, we have ones for the beach, we have ones for a doctor's and dentist's office or a medical facility or amusement parks. So we've had a couple of cities that have been interested in one for their water parks. So those kind of go hand in hand, and as well, the library seems to be a popular one too. So this slide is just kind of to give you an idea of the fact that there are really several places that could benefit from a communication board, because people who have disabilities and who are nonverbal really, you know, they are everywhere. And when you think about the nonverbal population, we're not only including those people who have special needs. Of course, our products are made for those who have special needs because that's the population that we serve. But we often find that small children, toddlers, preschoolers, they're drawn to the boards because they have the pictures and then they have the vocabulary words on there as well. And so they're able to use them for learning purposes versus communication. Okay, next slide. And this is my last slide. And basically, you know, the great thing about having a communication board, because it is such a unique idea and it's been so popular, I would highly suggest being able to use positive PR to publicize what you've done. I just recently completed I worked with Virginia Beach, and we provided 11 playground communication boards for the city of Virginia Beach. This was a project that started out with a speech pathologist that really wanted one board, and she needed help with finding funding. So I offered to help her fundraise for them. So we reached out to sponsors, and it's kind of funny that this idea was so popular. People were so interested because it's different than saying, oh, can you just donate to us for school uniforms or something like that. This is something that is like tangible. They can see it and it can help a wide variety of people. That we were able to get our boards fully funded. We got the first board funded within 24 hours. And then within the next few months, we had 11 sponsors willing to fund like one entire board. And so we finished that project, and the local news station has already reached out to them, and they're interested in doing a story and things like that. So it's a great way to generate positive PR for your city as well. I am done with my presentation, and I would love to take any questions that you might have at this point.
I was just curious, and great presentation, by the way. I love the concept. What would be the average cost of a board made of aluminum that would be for an outside installation?
So the average cost for the extra large, including a logo, is $1,890.
What are the dimensions of an extra large board?
I believe it's 45 by 30 inches. As I said, we've done the research on this, on what size is best. We've had people reach out to us that want something enormous, and that's just not functional. Once you have to start trying to be mobile, going back and forth from one side of a board to another, you lose time, and you lose the speed and accuracy of being able to communicate. And we're also keeping in mind those children who are smaller and in wheelchairs.
Is there a cost associated with your organization's time and helping to determine the symbols and the words and to set up the board with your speech pathologist?
So no, we don't charge based on time. We have a standard board. So if that's what you're interested in with a logo, then your cost is going to be $1,890. If you have customizations, so that's where cost might add up. So let's say you are interested in, I think our first level is changing up to 10 vocabulary words. And most cities don't have up to 10. A lot of cities just get our standard board, but you can do up to 10, and that's just $180. And that includes being able to get words that are already existing within our symbol library. We do have a vast symbol library, so most words you would find are in there. When it comes to something that is more customized, like let's say you have, there was one board where they had like a taco truck on their playground, right? And that's a specialized structure. Not everybody has a taco truck in their playground. So something like that involves the work of a designer. We're going to have to hire a graphic designer to take the time out to do that. But we bill for that based on, one custom icon, I believe, is like around 150 or something like that. And if you have a lot of customizations, and that's something that we would work with you to come up with an agreeable price that's fair for both of us. And based on the number and quantity that you order, there is, you do get, bulk pricing and discount as well.
Okay, thank you. And then one more question, what's the turnaround time if we wanted to do this project from start to finish? Whether we could have the board here and ready to install?
So turnaround time is actually very quick. By the time, so what happens is the longest part of the process is actually going back and forth between the city and myself, trying to decide, well, getting a logo, that can take a week sometimes if somebody just doesn't email me the logo. And then if you have customizations, just making sure that somebody is there to go through the process with me to choose that. So that is that's basically determined by the city or the people that I'm working with. Once we have all the details that we need, our turnaround time is within 2 weeks.
Oh.
We can get a proof to you within 24 hours, usually. Sometimes it's 48. We can usually get a proof out pretty quickly, unless there's a lot of customizations and drawings. But still, I find that even if there are a lot of customized drawings, we have a dedicated designer, so he's able to get those in within a couple of days versus the 24-hour turnaround time. And then production is about 10 to 14 days.
Okay, wow. Thank you. I really appreciate the presentation. Any other questions, commissioners?
I just have one last question. Do you have a catalog with pricing that kind of shows, you had mentioned the play structure, play interactive option put on the back of the board, just as a kind of a baseline as we look at this?
Absolutely. Yes. I can send, I believe I was corresponding with Jennifer today, so I can send her a catalog. And I've also got a project proposal that I've used that I can create if you'd like. So we definitely have documentation and PDF brochures that you can take a look at for a better idea of what pricing looks like.
Thank you. That'd be fantastic.
Okay. We really appreciate you coming today and enjoyed your presentation. It's a wonderful idea. We're working on our strategic plan for the next 2 years and budgeting, so we'll add this to our list of items to consider and we'll let you know.
Okay, thank you so much, and thank you for having me on today.
Thanks.
Thanks.
All right, goodbye.
Bye.
And Councilmember Salberg actually just sent me a link through Zoom that I forwarded to all of you and your emails. So there's a link with the cost breakdown and everything.
Is this the same group that presented to us? Okay.
Yeah, this was just a little more detail. Mhm.
Okay, I think I'm good to log off now.
Yes.
All right, have a good night, everyone.
Thanks, Jane.
Bye. Okay. I guess we have something else to add to our list of items to consider as we move into that process, and we'll get to that later in the meeting. So now we're looking at Satori Dance, and we have Brian Johnson here. Thanks for coming.
Thank you so much for having me. How many of you have danced ever? Yeah. So I purchased Satori Dance and Wellness in April of 2020. Because at the start of COVID, what else would you do? You would buy a dance studio, right? And it was quiet. It was very quiet for a long time. And people started to come back out. And the biggest thing that I realized about the intentions of people coming to my studio is they just wanted to connect. They just didn't want to feel alone. We have a thriving community in Liberty Lake. For 8 years, I was a preschool and pre-K teacher at Liberty Lake Children's Academy. So I've helped raise several hundred children here. And the biggest thing that I heard from parents was, despite the friends, the family, the yoga, there's still an element of feeling a little bit alone. Just a little bit of, what if it's just me? What if, right? Additionally, struggling to tend to everything that needs to happen in a family, with ourselves, trying to, do self-care, connect with our partner. At the end of the day, it leaves very little room, not only for ourselves, but for our partners. So in Spokane and in Coeur d'Alene, we've done outreach, and we've done a couple things here several years ago before COVID, where we would have couples come out. We were meeting in a yoga studio a few years back, but my proposal is to do it in the park and have date night in the park. And whether or not children can come or don't come, I'm not concerned with that. I've been teaching children to merengue for a very long time. All of my students knew how to dance. And their parents would come to my cruises that I have every year on Lake Coeur d'Alene. We're having one in 2 weeks on the Missionah. It's a 3-hour tour, much like Gilligan's Island. But people get to come and play and dance and enjoy themselves and be in their bodies. And often, you have people that are very committed to maybe yoga, but dance is for everyone. If you can walk, you can dance. And so the styles that we teach are specifically bachata, which is a Latin dance. And we also teach kizomba, which is an African partner dance from Angola. And these dances start when kids are just babies. And so I would really love the opportunity to have Satori come in, have date night in the park, do midday dance events. The kids can come, the kids don't have to come. I'm more than happy with either. And just begin to incorporate that element of movement and play and communication, because dance it's a conversation, it's its own language. And doing it in an environment that everyone is familiar with. You don't have to get in your car and drive a half hour to downtown Spokane. I get it. I get why people don't want to do that. So I live in Otis Orchards, and I do the commuting, but I would love the opportunity to just allow the grown-ups to play. Do you have any questions for me?
So I had a meeting last week with her, and we kind of vetted through all of the, could you supply certificate of insurance? Would you be willing to fill out an agreement with the city, similar to what we've done with yoga and the fitness classes? And so everything looked great to her. Next steps, I said, would be to present to you all here at the Parks and Arts Commission. And if you are in support of this, I would just ask that you vote. And then if it's all approved, then she and I will work together to produce an agreement that we can set forth to council for their approval. So it would be a 3-year contract or agreement like we do with Skyhawks and Challengers and the fitness classes and the yoga. We don't have anything else remotely like this. So it would be a new and a good variety to add, I think, to our recreational programming. Again, we don't do recreation in-house. We rely on contracts and agreements to bring those recreation programs to the city parks.
So where would this be? Like a pavilion park in the pavilion or?
Yes, yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
Yeah, I was just thinking the venues around there, that's the only coverable we have.
yes.
Can you explain the dance styles again?
Yeah, sure. So bachata is from the Dominican Republic. And so that is, they're all just to 4 counts. So the music is specific, but you can technically dance bachata to anything. And so it's linear, it's partner, you can have open position, kind of open. You can have slightly closer position. It's celebratory, it's fun, it's playful. And then Kizomba is an African partner dance. It is from Angola, and that is based on an embrace. And you can, I have a website, it's www.satori.dance. If you want to just, look in and research it a little bit further. But both dances are conducive to families, to friends, to children.
So are there fees associated with this?
That kind of depends on your requirements. My goal is really just to bring this dance and this partnership to Liberty Lake. It is my understanding that a fee is requested. And if that's the case, then I'm amenable to anything between $8 and $10, either per person or per couple, whatever is the most reasonable.
And we do require a fee at this time when we put together an agreement. The agreement states that the contractor will provide the city with 20% of the registration fees that they take in. And what that does is it's partly cost recovery, but it also is in lieu of renting the pavilion every single time, because that would be cost exorbitant. Most people wouldn't be able to afford that. So that's how we work out the agreements, and that's why we work them out with a request of some kind of registration fee.
I'm imagining this would be a seasonal offering.
For now, I'm not sure, as far as the city goes, like what venues are offered, if there are anything indoors, or if it's exclusively outdoors. So for now, it would be seasonal, but I'm really open. I'm actually looking at a space, just right over, what are they calling it? North
River District
River.
and Knoll.
No, yes.
North of-
I'm actually looking, potentially at building out a space there for dance. So hopefully, and also maybe local, businesses, restaurants, any place with a flat floor, we can do a lot with it. Restaurants or anything, so I'm really open.
What frequency do you envision for the classes?
I would love to at first be able to do it at least every month, but I would be happy with every other week. I mean, ultimately, it'd be fun to do it every week. In the summer, like next summer or something. And often my classes are progressive, so we start with just a social, just getting people excited about it, and then, if they want to maybe learn a little bit more, well, then we would offer like a 4-week series, which is progressive, so you can rest assured that you would have a certain level of proficiency by X date. So it's measurable that way.
So then the different ages of these kids, probably within 5 years of each other or something like that? You have to be
This is-
4-year-old, a 9-year-old or?
Sure, yeah, I'm actually, this is geared towards adults. So
Okay.
this is specifically towards adults. I'm happy if children want to attend and join. And for that, I mean, at that time, it would be up to their, at their parents' discretion, but this is specifically for grown-ups. Yeah, but I have kiddos myself. I have 4, and my youngest is 9, and my oldest is 24, and they all dance. They'll all be attending the cruise, and so, and that was my passion for dance was kids. So
That's what I was thinking is, not everybody's an athlete or
Sure.
musician or that type of stuff,
Yeah.
but these kids, they all can dance.
Lit-
Anything with timing, rhythm,
Literally
music,
anyone,
sequence,
yes.
progression.
It's so beautiful too, because you are crossing the midline, so it's doing a lot for the brain. You're really working that bilateral. It's yeah, fantastic.
Awesome. Any other questions? So commissioners, what's your pleasure?
Oh, I think this sounds fabulously fun. Great idea. We don't have anything like this. We
Yeah, I
don't
know.
really have, romantic, let's go dancing, sweetheart venue anywhere nearby. It's a great idea. Thank you for your present.
Yes, yes, of course.
So I think, you're looking for a motion that the commission supports this and to move it on to agreement and council approval. Do we have a motion?
I have a question or
Okay.
concern there. So if we do this, I realize we don't have the other dance groups coming in and asking, so this is a 3-year commitment, correct?
It's a 3-year commitment, but there's language in there that both parties can decide not to
Okay,
continue
so
on.
if another dance organization wanted to come in and do something similar, all yours is more specific, are they precluded from doing that or?
No.
Okay,
No, we have that exact situation with sports. And what we do is split them up between the different parks, so they're not overlapping and competing,
great.
and it works out just fine. Yeah.
I'll make a motion that, Parks and Arts should pursue this. And start with paperwork and go from there.
Get it off for city council. Second that.
We have a motion and it's been seconded to support the moving of this project forward to agreement and council approval. Any discussion on the motion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Show the motion approved.
All right, I'll be in touch with you tomorrow.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for
Thanks.
coming. All right, we'll move on to the next item, which is pickleball league proposal. Greg Woodman. Welcome, Greg.
Hi, how are you?
Good.
Good. Okay, so I am here, also looking for your support in being able to put a proposal together to start a Liberty Lake Pickleball League. I've been playing pickleball for several years and part of the, Facebook group here, and I had recently put out a thing saying, hey, I'd like to do a league and to kind of see how many people were interested in it. And within a couple of days, we had 60 people who sounded like fun to have an organized league. And so kind of started working on that and then came and met with Jen and, kind of the one, thing that you need is a guaranteed space that you're gonna be able to play. The one thing that will kind of derail it is not being able to show up and not have courts to play. So, I kind of started figuring out what that process is to be able to, have a league and I'm happy to work around with other schedules are there. But to be able to, put together a league and have a time reserved at some of the courts, as we run these leagues. I wanted to start with one, but could very quickly see multiple more, coming, whether it's mixed doubles, men's, women's, singles. There was just a lot of interest. And I was happy to kind of take on and spearhead this and see if I can make it happen.
So again, same situation, different project, different recreation situation. So he's willing to go through the agreement process. We kind of talked what the details of that looks like. He's looking to charge registration fees. We have the court space. We don't currently reserve tennis courts. However, we do reserve them in the situations of the agreements. So when Skyhawks wants to play tennis, they have priority reservation, if you will, over the court. There are no fees to reserve the courts at this time, which is something that the commission may want to address later on because they are getting busy, very, very busy. But this would allow him a priority reservation along with Skyhawks and along with Central Valley School District. Central Valley School District, however, has the top priority over all of our Orchard Park tennis courts. He understands that, he's willing to work with that. And to the point that when I spoke with him and I said those courts get really busy, and he was saying if they're, tying up 2 or 3 courts, they'll always encourage people to play and share the courts, so I don't see any issues with tennis court competition.
No. And I also wasn't looking, like, especially at Orchard Park, there's 4 courts there, and for me, and what I'm looking at is I'm trying to keep leagues at a size too, where if we say had 2 courts, that's 4 pickleball courts, we can make that work, I don't need the entire, all 4 courts or any, I'm trying to keep it in a 10 to 12 team thing, so you can get through and play in a couple hours, and then there's still 2 courts that are available there at the same time.
So Greg, is Orchard Park the park you have in mind for this?
That's what I'm thinking for right now, yeah, that's kind of where there's 4 courts there, and I think it's, at least if there's 4, you could, there's more space, and I know at the, Rocky Hill, there's 2, that can be a, I don't know, more contentious of telling, oh, well, I've got this, but there, I thought there was 4, we can use 2, get 4 courts going. And then just know that we have those, and then see how it goes, and, could grow and change times and dates, and I'd work very closely with you guys to make sure that, that it works for everyone.
I've seen quite a few people at Orchard Park play pickleball.
Yep,
And they got their group, they go to a certain time, or like 12 people, same guys.
yep, I was in that group when we started last year, we played a couple of times a week, and then, one of the days we played on Sunday, and then one time we went, and it went from about 8, 10, 12 of us to, there's times where now during Saturday, Sunday, there can be, all, 4, 8 courts going, and there's, 30 plus people there, so I was looking at more like evenings, don't wanna really do it on the weekends right now. I wouldn't wanna take that away from people, but an evening league where, we have 2 courts that we can use, and, maybe do a Monday night, and then just if there's enough interest, and work with you guys to see if I can continue to get it to grow.
Are you targeting 1 day per week, or would you have 1 day based on men's, women's mix?
So right now, I think my first play is I'm looking at doing a mixed doubles on Tuesday nights, and that was kind of my first thought, and then if that goes off without a hitch and we can make that work, then see if, hey, is this, could we also throw in a men's or women's, and can be a lot of players with especially the ratings and how, the competition level, but I just want to be able to get it started, and then I think that there's a lot of potential, and I think a lot of people in this community that would really get behind it. I think there's a lot of want for pickleball, and then giving them a organized league to go play in. That can generate some revenue for the city, and also be a good thing, because nobody else is really doing it right now except for private clubs.
And I think it's at the hub, but the hub is indoor and we're outdoor, so there's nothing outdoor in our direct
Yeah,
area.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was just gonna ask, so are you competing with the Hub Sports Center
No,
for their drop and play, because
they
they also have some workshops that they're.
and that's where I started, that's where I learned how to play, was at the hub, and was doing that. There's a huge difference between indoor pickleball and outdoor. Generally, what happens is through the winter, they're super busy. Once the summer comes, I went a couple of weeks ago, and there was like 8 people there total, where other times we'd had, 50. So when the summer comes, it's kind of, it moves outdoor, at least here, the majority, I just want to be able to organize a league, and more than anything, be able to know, hey, we can play, and we're not gonna show up and these people are, we can't get a couple of courts to play. And I don't want to take over the whole thing, I just want to have a couple areas to be able to do it.
Isn't the Coeur d'Alene Parks and Rec, do they have something similar?
Coeur d'Alene does, and they've kind of been established for a while, and they have a whole drop-in system, but they also have dedicated pickleball courts. And we are still currently sharing with the tennis courts that we have.
Pickleball certainly seems to be the wave of the future, doesn't it?
It's growing quick, I'd love to help do this and do it through here and see where it could go.
Okay, any other questions?
So is there a possibility of teaming up with the hub for tournaments? Something like that? Have you looked at
I think that there's a lot of cross, I know a lot of the players there, I was on the pickleball committee for the hub for a little bit. And I think there's definitely a possibility, you do find some of the players there that are just kind of stay at the hub, and then, it's just so yes, I could absolutely see something go together, I tried to talk to them a while ago, it's hard to, if they could do outdoor courts, that would be great. But yeah, I mean, I'd be open to anything.
Well, it wouldn't be like Hoop Fest, but that's That's how it starts.
It absolutely does. I'm already picturing doing it. I mean, thinking about how we could do a really, really cool Liberty Lake pickleball tournament, especially if you were really to put into it, you get a lot of people to come, then that's something that I'm also working on trying to do. But this is kind of step one is, does this work and do we get enough people and interest? And if so, then where can that grow into?
Any other questions? All right, commissioners, what's your pleasure?
I think it sounds fantastic. I agree that it's growing immensely in popularity, and I live in Rocky Hill, and I'd say the pickleball courts are constantly in use. I don't even have a little one set up on our driveway now. So we're not picking anyone off, but I'm supportive of this, and thank you for bringing it forward.
Thank you.
Would anyone like to make a motion, to move this forward to agreement and for council approval?
I'll motion to move it. Let's proceed, let's move forward.
Okay, do we have a second? Okay, thank you. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? All right, so the motion approved. Then we have staff for the no's. There's.
Thanks, Greg. Thank you guys very much. Appreciate it.
I'll email you tomorrow, Greg.
Perfect.
That's awesome. I can hear the pickleball popping at my house. So don't ping pong or something. Stand up. All right, where are we now? We're to the ecological art. Did Tosi join us online?
No, so I think, originally she was going to come talk with the commission about requesting support for her project that she proposed a little while back, but I think she's shifting gears and looking more into a community forest program, which is something completely different than what she originally approached. She didn't respond to my email, so I don't think she's here today to present.
Okay, so we'll skip that item since we don't have it. That was the presentation on the, I call it the plants and etchings project.
Okay.
All right, we'll move on to the next item, which is our budget and strategic plan. And I believe the city is moving forward with their budget process a little earlier this year in August. So our goal maybe for today was to finish up our strategic plan, which I think we've looked at and made the adjustments. Dan has the updated version here on our desks. So I mean, we can look at that one more time, and if there's any fine tuning, we can do that. We have a list of projects still that we need to discuss, and we need to particularly look at the 2024 and the 2025 and the blank 2026 budget and see what we want to do. So it looks like.
So I think at the last meeting, we were down to 3 people when we had this discussion. So I took the input based on that. And so some of you probably have not seen this before because only 3 people were here.
That's right.
Nothing was voted on because we didn't have a quorum. And so I've incorporated the suggestions that came out of that meeting. I think what I'm looking for to finalize this is to confirm 2024 for sure. 2025 and 2026 can be just best guesses. But 2024, we really need to make sure is voted on. Hopefully today, our next meeting is gonna be August 7th, I think, or somewhere in there. If it didn't make it till then, we'd probably be okay, but I'd prefer to have it finalized today if at all possible.
Okay. So if we look down the projects under discussion, I mean, to me, this would be helpful. If we just kind of run through that, I mean, the dog park, that's already on, has gone to council. It's on their list of considerations. It's not ranked. So I think we've done our due diligence there until the council wants to do something. I don't know, the entry median art, that could be a subject item. Looking skate park, skating rink, BMX. The native plant project, I think that's the one we can X, because that's Cozy, who is regrouping that didn't come, so I'm Xing through that. Then Commissioner Barr had some ones that are in conjunction with the library, so I'm not sure that those are anything that we would need to budget for. Would that be correct?
A program like that, I wouldn't necessarily put a budget line with, it would be just a suggestion for a program for the library director.
So there's a few of those. The
Yeah.
Boulder project, I think we have. Well, is that the same as rock art on 2025?
It is, and that's, correct me if I'm wrong, that's in conjunction with equipment
Right.
replacement, right?
Yeah.
And that's when Pavilion Park is
Slated
scheduled.
for,
Okay,
yeah.
got it. So that's good. The beam, we still have that. I don't know how we can decide on that till we get in Trailhead. The symbol board, we heard that today. The Liberty launch programs, that's just a placeholder for now, because we haven't heard enough from them to budget or really plan for everything, so that's kind of a placeholder. So I think if we keep that in mind, then we can look through. I know, Laura, you were really involved in the 2024. Do you want to kind of go over that budget and start there?
Sure. So the Liberty Lake Together Art, I think that's just a discussion point. That was the sculptures that went into Rocky Hill. The idea was that every couple of years, or eventually annually, that we would continue to grow that program. So that's a budget placeholder. If we want to continue growing that, next year. It looks like the utility box wraps just got put down the year since we didn't get to them this year. Skate park painting, that came out of the Hooptown Court mural discussion of just refreshing the artwork in the skate park, in more of a graffiti type style, so that way it would hopefully help prevent the graffiti issue that the city is dealing with.
Now, excuse me, Karen, didn't we discuss possibly moving that to the 2023 budget?
We
Where
did, and that we were talking about if we can shuffle.
Yes, so I have an update on my,
I saw it was on here.
Yeah.
Next on the agenda.
on my report, but since we're discussing it, what could happen is, and this would be my recommendation, we could pursue it this year, but just in case it doesn't happen by the end of the year, I would leave it on for 2024 with that dollar amount, just in case, and then it's already slated for next year in case we don't make it that far. However, I talked to the finance director, his suggestion would be to go ahead and get a quote from an artist to do the work, whatever the plan, which we have. And I can go ahead and put that into an agenda item and present it to city council for approval, explaining that this wasn't necessarily budgeted for this year, but we've saved so much on the Hooptown Court that we have room to do this project. And it's kind of a subsidiary from that.
Okay,
That
I think
original-
Brittany heard it before because it was in July.
Right, but we would need to take it and do an artist.
Bill wouldn't be a.
Yeah, it wouldn't be the first time. Yeah.
And the artist that we had talked to, he had some vacation this month, but he said he would have a proposal with some
Perfect.
design concepts
So-
by our August.
So if he and I, like we did with Danielle, go back and forth and do a draft, artist agreement, very similar to Danielle's.
Do you want to start that process now?
Yeah, I mean, because if I could get it onto the August 1st city council agenda, which is quite doable if he's back in time and we can get this
He's
going.
excited about this, so.
Yeah, I mean, potentially I could get it approved, hopefully on the August 1st agenda.
Okay.
And that would still give him season left, heat and warmth to get that
Yeah,
painted.
I think that'd be awesome.
Do you want me to amend the?
Yeah,
artist
yeah,
agreement?
sure.
Okay.
Yeah, and add in his info. Yeah.
I have, yeah.
That would be great. And then present an invoice or a quote or something showing all the costs that would be associated with his work. And then I think that's all, a picture, an example, something to put out. And then we can get
The artist.
Joshua Thomas.
If
He's
we,
a Liberty Lake resident and he's submitted for the Hooptown Court Bureau. Fantastic artist, so, yeah.
the council will love that he's a Liberty Lake resident, because that's one of the things they asked me, when I was giving the update at their meeting. So Jen, if we keep this skate park painting in the 2024 budget, and then here shortly, can we find out we're going to get to do it this year, can we amend it and put something else in there?
There will be a point with the budget packet that we can't amend it, but even if it still does end up in their worst case scenario, it's not a huge deal. We just say, we did this last minute, it's done, we don't have to work. And maybe if they do fund it, because, you know, it didn't get taken off. When we go through that process, they will be made aware that, oh, hey, we did this, we left it on because we weren't sure. Council, please take $12,000 off or leave it for something else.
Yeah, leave it for something.
Yeah. And that is gonna be at their discretion.
Okay, all right, sorry to interrupt you, Lars.
Oh, no. The other, so the next time was the Pavilion Park mural extension, we had talked about wrapping the corner.
What about the Kramer Parkway art?
Oh, sorry, I skipped over that, the Kramer Parkway art. I don't know that we have any solid ideas on that though, so that's just a placeholder until we develop, and I think some of it is just seeing how that all finishes out, and if there's, my understanding, there's going, some kind of like
Green space,
park or green space.
no more.
Yeah.
So yeah, they're gonna landscape the corner, where Kramer Parkway comes out to Country Vista.
Yeah,
There's actually gonna be irrigation and I think just grass in there.
Maybe a
Grass.
park
Yeah,
bench.
I think that's a good idea to wait until it's
but,
done.
But
yeah,
we
so
can
that
do
was
that
a
next
place,
year.
that was a placeholder too, so again, if the skate park mural ends up getting bumped up, that money could always be put towards that if we needed to.
I have an idea on the, completion timeline for the parkway.
I think it's supposed to, I've heard it's supposed to be open in August, but I don't know for sure.
It looks like it's coming along quickly, yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you. The Pavilion Park mural extension and historical outlook, I'll just kind of cover those together. So the extension of the mural is, we had talked about wrapping the corner with the carousel. So we haven't really gotten a ton of discussion on that with the artist in terms of what the cost would be. So this was a placeholder. The historical outlook is targeted up at the flagpole, which would be some kind of a kiosk or outlook station that would kind of explain the historical significance of the park, the concession stand building, the pavilion, kind of the whole landscape of what you're looking at. That is something that we've talked to the Historical Society about. They do have some funds allocated towards contributing towards this project. So that, again, that 20,000 is a placeholder. I would expect that number to be much lower, depending on what the Historical Society is wanting to participate, what level of participation they want to have in that project. And then we have our standard beautification line, which would cover things like the graffiti barrels or park benches or sidewalk, like we talked about, a sidewalk around the flagpole for better accessibility to the future historical outlooks and just getting to the flagpole itself. And then programming, this is one, we had this a ways out because we haven't historically done a lot of programming, so it was just put in there as a way of saying we want to start prioritizing it and looking for other opportunities of programming that we can bring to the community.
And I think we kind of kicked that off this year with the students doing all of those projects. So that was sort of the first time we dabbled in that, and I can see that definitely continuing.
I think it's gonna grow, absolutely.
And
The barrels look fantastic.
oh, don't they?
Oh my gosh.
And I'd like to add on the utility box racks, these are going to be the last two signals, that we have for any length of time in the future. I talked to Lisa Key and she does not foresee any other signals going in at this time. Of course, that could change, but so this will be the last two that we have slated for any signals in the future, so.
Do we want to do the legacy one's up, isn't it? Is it the
No,
box?
no, the boxes are up, but we can't do either one of them until the bridge is complete, because right now they're under WashDOT still and under contract, and they're not gonna be released until the bridge is complete. Once the bridge is complete, then the signals will be turned over to the city. They're not technically turned over to the city yet.
What's the feeling of the commission? Do we want to, as far as the utility wraps, do we want to do anything more this year with that, or do we want to push it off into 2024?
I would probably recommend waiting until spring, just because we don't have a design and we don't know for sure what date they'll be released to the city.
I was gonna pursue it a little bit more, but along that note, I still haven't been able to get a hold of anybody from school. So I was gonna try and use the middle school,
Why don't I connect you with Heather? She's the one who's.
I have emailed, I think it's her, 2 or 3.
There's a couple of different
4 times.
teachers that we've been working with that have
Yeah.
been really
But
responsive.
are we hearing that we push that off in 2024?
I think you go to 2024.
All right. What about also too on the beautification? Have we always been at 5 on that? Okay, no reason to increase that.
I don't think we've ever spent the time, so.
Mhm.
So I'm just curious, before we get to 2024. I know that we're hoping to get the skate park painting, out of 2023, but is there all gonna be additional extra money that we haven't used that we could do? I don't know where we are in spending it at all. I guess we don't know the final totals of a lot of stuff. So.
Well, yeah, because nothing was spent on the utility box wraps for 23.
It's really just the story walk and the mural, the
Yeah.
mural, right? Which down payment, unless we did a down payment for the artist.
Yeah. I can get a total for the next meeting and let everyone know where we're sitting.
Because I know we're not gonna be discussing it today, but it might be nice if we have money still in the budget to do something before the end of the year. Okay, so 2025?
So let me ask, go back to 2023, the Smarty boards. We want to include that on there?
Well, that is something that, to your point, Nancy, that we can do quickly.
Yeah, because,
Turnaround time is what,
2 weeks,
2 weeks?
beautiful.
I think it's an awesome idea.
And we're planning on putting this in which park?
That's what we need to discuss and put in.
I would say that main drag along the walkway as you're walking towards the snack shack.
The pavilion,
Yeah,
But
Orchard would be the
That's where
one too,
both
because
of
it's so
the-
busy.
announcement boards are and
Yeah.
whatnot.
I'm just thinking that we've got a lot of projects at Pavilion Park right now because of the murals and the skate park. And of course, Orchard is getting, I'm just trying to balance it out. Of course, if we did them at all 3 parks, that's $6,000. We actually might have that. Then we don't have to have this discussion.
And we can do pavilion first, because that's more centrally located. And see the responses after that, then branch out your.
If we keep the pricing under $2,500, we don't have to go out for quotes. I will tell you that.
Per board, you would execute them as separate.
I would do one as a pilot project, just to see what the response is. Then if it's wildly popular, which I think it would be, either potentially do what she did and reach out for sponsors if there are groups out there in the region that would like to sponsor them, or then go out for the second and third and potentially fourth board. Because we have 4 parks.
Do you know the timing on the library then? Because that was another area. that she said
I'm hearing 25, but we don't know yet.
I'm thinking what we talked about earlier, Pavilion Park is gonna get a new playground. So I wouldn't do it for Pavilion Park, because some of the symbols, aren't they kind of associated with the.
You can customize it. Yeah, that would be my recommendation is
So
to
then, so maybe that narrows it down to Rocky or Orchard.
I would suggest probably Orchard because it's just so busy.
Orchard.
It's very busy.
And you have isn't the playground right by the splash pad, so it would incorporate all that?
But
So we'll put a Smarty board in 25 for pavilion,
Yeah,
right?
no, yeah,
That's a great idea.
So that's in there, and put that at, say, 2,500
Yeah.
with cross circulation or installation, and then do Orchard and Rocky this year? Or try to,
Well, we'd have to bid them separate, right?
start with Orchard, so would
Start
we
with
still
one.
do the same thing, but Orchard?
start with one.
Yeah, would we put it in the 24 budget to show that, and then,
I would do one this year, and then, this is just me talking, just a suggestion. Do one this year, put one for 24, and then finish it out in 25 for pavilion, and then in 26, I would put the one for town square.
can we put it for this year, because that budget's already approved, would you would amend? the-
Yeah, because you've got plenty in beautification,
Yeah,
that could very easily fall under even just the beautification line.
Because they're
So, yes.
colorful.
yeah,
Yeah.
so installation and location, she mentioned wheelchair access more than once.
Mhm.
So it can't be towards the playground called the chips.
It has to be on.
Chips are actually, believe it or not, ADA accessible.
But
They're,
is there a dip-
engineered
is there a
chips.
dip between the
there's
sidewalk?
not, there's either a ramp, one of the parks pavilion has a ramp down into the chips, and then, the chips sit up at the level of the.
Maybe Trevor could go look at it, and if he sees the,
Yeah, I would let staff make the recommendation of where to put it if that is already with the commission, let them logistically place it.
yeah, because you can give them the PowerPoint so they'll know what they're talking about.
So, based on the number of things that we have done historically each year, I feel like 24 is real heavy.
I would agree.
I don't know if maybe we look at like the Pavilion Park mural extension, maybe moving that out to 26, or I'm just trying to think of.
Well, if you're gonna do the
Responsible
historical
about-
outlet, wouldn't you need the mural completed for that?
Not necessarily.
Not necessarily.
Okay. Because, well, the Kramer Parkway art would.
It's
be
just a
nice.
lot. The Liberty Lake Together art is a big project. The utility boxes is smaller, but and then the Kramer Parkway art and mural extension is for, I mean, they're all fairly sizable projects and we're small for,
Maybe the Liberty Lake Together art will be the Kramer Parkway.
it could be.
Oh, there you
a
go.
combination, Yeah.
And the skate park and painting.
Could typically be a, yeah.
Yeah, no, I see what you're saying.
It's a lot, just looking at how
Yeah,
much we've taken on in the.
It also
like
takes-
volunteer power.
It also takes staff time.
Staff,
Well,
yeah,
if we-
staff support.
If we move the mural extension, and that, I'm good with that, as long as we get the historical outlet.
Well, I like your idea of the Parkway art and Liberty Lake together,
Yeah,
and becoming combined.
becoming
project.
one, that we just have that our focus, because we need a place to
What-
put it anyway.
Which costs do you wanna leave it at, or do you wanna combine the two?
I would combine it and maybe go,
I'm trying to keep notes here so I can.
yeah,
So you want to say
Laura
that
might
you
need
want to
to-
combine what?
Liberty Lake together, like that, the Kramer Parkway art being the location.
At Kramer Park, what amount would you put in?
I would just maybe combine the two.
32.5,
Yeah,
and
because I
then,
know the artist that did the Rocky Hill, he ended up, I think, not breaking even, his material costs and time and
And
everything.
that, wasn't that 10 or something?
That was 10.
Yeah.
So I think going higher is appropriate.
Okay, that's a good idea.
okay, so, just for the sake of draft keeping here, we're eliminating the single Kramer Parkway art for 20, and we're adding it to the Liberty Lake Together art for a total of 32.5.
Yeah, just say Liberty Lake Together or at Kramer Park.
And then Pavilion Park mural extension, moving that to
25?
or 26, we don't have anything in 26 yet.
I think it makes sense. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm
what
good
the
with
other-
that. I mean, we have this,
Interesting.
we have the nice mural, and I'm, I know it'd be nice to go around the corner, but I think we could wait on that.
We're gonna lose our porta potty spot. if it goes down. We've already lost our porta
I
potty
know.
spot by the front, because,
Well, should we move it to 26 and?
Yeah. So then in 26, just what kind of placeholders, you have the mural extension, beautification, programming, symphony. So those at least show some placeholders, and then to your point, we really only need 24 kind of fleshed out with some future thought of, here are some, placeholders for 25, 26 that we will then amend. as
And
we
we'll
get
do
more
a
detail.
Smarty board each year.
oh, yeah.
Yeah,
And that, but of course, 2026, we could even put one on there for the town square.
Because by then we'll have a master
Master
plan,
plan.
if not
yeah.
of something there.
Yeah, so we can put that there.
And what number do you want by the Smarty boards for each of those years?
You think 2,500, or would you incrementally increase it for inflation?
I think 2,500.
Yeah.
I
It's
assume we
best, yeah.
install that
Yeah.
on staff.
We do, but there's always a chance. I think if we budget a little bit higher, there's the opportunity to have it done by a contractor, just to ease off of our staff a little bit.
Yeah. So I would maybe put 10 on the mural extension, 5 for beautification, 2,500 for Smarty Works. And then the symphony, you guys have that contract already worked out, that's just a line item. And then programming. Seems like a good start, yeah.
Yeah, good, that placeholder.
If I could go back to the garden contest real quickly. I did speak with Jandy back in May before she went on leave, and she was all for the idea. And actually, they were all very enthusiastic. And I was thinking having categories, 3 or 4 different categories. Last time we did it, we just had the one category, but we had lots of containers and then actual gardens and stuff. So, have maybe 3 or 4 categories and possibly some sort of prizes, I think would be appropriate to actually get people to participate.
So the city can't, gift things, but what we've done in the past, from the city perspective, there used to be a Christmas lighting contest. And the mayor chose their favorite pick at the time, and they got an award, right? Bragging rights from the mayor, yeah. Now, if you do want to go the route of prizes, I might recommend that you go out and ask for support from the community on that, to provide the
Like a little gift
prize,
basket.
yeah,
Yeah.
and that way we're all good.
Okay, sure, yeah, but
The Lurie Lake Kiwanis would be, someone to approach, because I think that's kind of, we would look up on that as something positive, so.
Yeah.
When it gets around to that time, let me know and I'll bring it forward.
The only other thing that I would maybe like to massage somewhere in there is the trailhead thing.
Oh, yeah.
We have the bench and then we have the blank walls. Remember that? How many blank walls were there?
That's the
Two, I
rotating wall,
think.
rotating art.
Well, if you did rotating, that could come through the programming.
Yeah,
Program.
Oh,
You wouldn't be purchasing
Yeah.
it, it would
Yes,
just
yes.
be,
Mhm.
right?
So, but the beam, yeah, or the beam, sorry. The beam, which might be a bench. Yes. Or beam art.
Mhm.
Which is maybe. Of course, that could be under beautification, I suppose.
You could can you put a line in there without a cost, since we have no
Yeah,
no idea.
I could
You
just put
trailhead
TBD or something.
TBD,
Sure.
so that way we're at least
And-
identifying it.
Do we have that on a year?
We don't.
Do we want to put it on a year, or do we want to leave it?
How long
under-
do you want to store them?
So you
Not
put
any
it-
longer than we have
Shoot,
to.
why don't we put it as a 24 with the TBD price?
Mhm.
Yeah,
Do we need to vote on that?
does that work?
Yeah, but
Do we need my vote on that?
we have a quorum, so we're.
Beam 24 TBD. Yeah, I know that the mayor is really excited about getting something done with that, so.
Yeah, well, I think if everything's okay, I just read the restaurant isn't gonna even open probably till after the first of the year. So if we get a chance to get in there and then we can plan and do something next year with it.
I think that seems reasonable.
Why don't I send out a draft once this is all okay with everyone, and hopefully, because I know you kind of authored this the most, give it a once over, and if I'm missing anything, let me know. I'll send it to the group, and do not reply all, pretty please. But if I'm missing something, make sure it works with your notes and all the notes you
Will
did.
we do an email vote then, or we wait till the next?
Oh, no, vote on it. Vote on it now, what I think we've got, and I think Laura and I have the same thing.
Okay,
But I'll send it out in draft and make sure it is what you voted on.
Okay.
so we just need a motion to approve the strategic plan, including the budget as discussed for now.
With the drafted amendments.
Yes.
Right.
Is that a motion? No.
You can-
I'm not gonna make the
I
motion.
move that we, move forward and approve the strategic plan with the amendments noted today.
Second.
Any discussion on the motion? For this our strategic plan, including the budget? All in favor? Any opposed? Showing none, the motion approved. And then, yeah, we'll have a few eyes on it to,
Make sure what I have is correct.
got it. That's perfect. Thank you, David.
Yeah.
All right, next, I think, is
Yeah.
the skate park art, which we've covered. You guys have got that handled
Yeah.
and,
Oh, could you vote on that? What, do you want to vote on that? I put vote
oh,
Are you wanting to vote?
to move it forward to council for approval.
yes, do we have a motion?
Yes, I will motion that we, sorry, I'm trying to think, remember, motion that we submit the skate park art for approval to council to move forward with.
Second.
Been moved and seconded, to move the skate park art project, forward to council for approval. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all in favor? Please show the motion has passed unanimously. All right, that's all words of voting. Thank you.
Thanks,
David, for
everybody.
staying.
Yeah.
Okay, the rotating art wall at Trailhead and update on the opening. Do we know when we can get in there?
Not yet, but however, I think they're trying to move tonight and open tomorrow for business.
Really?
So, yeah, so don't quote me on that because tonight hasn't quite happened yet.
Would it be possible, then would we want to go as a group at some point and look, or do we all just want to commit to going and looking before our next meeting?
You may go as a group, I just have to notice it as a meeting in case a quorum shows up. Because it's city business, it's Parks and Arts business.
I mean,
I've been in and out during the whole thing.
Maybe a homework assignment?
Yeah,
yeah, okay. How will we know where the blank walls are?
that's a great question. Do you have an answer for that?
Well, it's wherever the TVs aren't,
Okay,
and there's a lot of TVs.
are the blank walls are in the, what I would call the lobby of the building?
The rotary room.
Oh, they're in the rotary. Oh, I thought for some reason
That was
they were in,
outside.
I thought it was in what I would call the lobby or hallway or,
Well, it could be too,
um,
but I know we have, some park by the drinking fountain.
would you ask Lisa?
Yes, I will find out and
And
I will
then-
send it out.
Yeah, and if it makes a little drawing with arrows and then,
Yes,
then our goal, once we get the email, will be everybody to go in there before our next meeting in August and take a look so we can have an informed discussion at that meeting. And we'll put that on as an agenda item. Okay, perfect. Rotating off wall, we've got that, we've got the beam on our strategic plan. So now we're at meeting expectations and reminders.
so again, I just kind of wanted to give a quick reminder that, if you're going to miss a meeting, they're always the first Monday of the month, with the exception that it's a holiday for the most part. Please let me know or let Nancy know, so that we can mark you excused. And then, if we need to move meeting times or days of the week, maybe that's something that might be discussed if enough of you feel the need to discuss that. We've had some, well, the example at the last meeting, we didn't even have a quorum by halfway through the meeting. And people had to leave and people were out. So, and we do not have an adjunct at this time to backfill any of you that we used to have, for those of you that don't know, an adjunct, we actually had 2 adjunct positions that could vote in the absence of a regular commissioner. And that was always gave us lots of breathing room, but we don't have that right now. So it is important to be at the meetings.
Did we get something in the splash again that we had that position open? An adjunct?
No, I need to discuss with the mayor because that position is actually not in the ordinance.
Oh,
So I need to, that was one that goes back to Mayor Peterson days and. So I don't even know technically if. We should have that because it's not called out in the ordinance. Student commissioners are, but not the adjunct position.
right. Okay. All right, well, thanks. And then the other, I guess, housekeeping item is we can't reply to all and tell us
Yeah,
why.
please don't reply all. It's an Open Public Meetings Act, requirement, has to do with, discussing city business over email. That's not a public meeting and that's a big no-no. So nobody's doing it. I'm just saying, if I send out some information, reply back just to me. Or if 2 of us or 3 of us are having a conversation, that's probably okay. But if you start communicating as a quorum, on email, it's considered a public meeting. Well, that meeting hasn't been properly noticed to the public, posted 24 hours prior to the meeting. There's no agenda that's been published. So you're crossing all the do not do's in city business.
And so if we had something urgent we wanted to share with everyone, we could email you, and then if it was allowed, you would email everyone?
Yes, so you could let me know. I could send it out to everybody so they have the information, but don't start a discussion over email about it.
Okay.
Same with a conversation. More than a quorum can't technically go down to the coffee shop and discuss city parks and arts business without having it noticed as a public meeting and inviting the public to join in.
And a quorum is 4 people.
4 people.
Okay.
Are there any questions on that, by the way? And that's like super high level. We can have an actual training on it if you would like to have a training on it. We had one way back in the very beginning on the parks and arts, but
I'm just not gonna reply to all of them.
don't reply all. You're safe that way.
And just will have coffee with one of you.
Yeah.
All right, staff report, Jen.
Staff report, I'm just gonna keep it to the high points of, if I can find it.
Did we get the sign up sheet around, by the way? It's all, it hasn't gone all the way down the road. Okay,
All
great.
right, so tomorrow evening, we are going to have a baseball field discussion. I thought that it would be interesting for you all to know about. We've had 3 different council meetings now where a council member has brought up that there is a need for field space in Liberty Lake, and there isn't enough. So I've been working with, Spokane Valley, Liberty Lake, Spokane Valley, Liberty Lake, Spokane Valley Little League. Their president is going to be speaking alongside with me tomorrow night on the status of field space in Liberty Lake. And basically what I'm gonna tell council is provide the inventory of what we have so that they all know. Provide the information, details, like I mentioned earlier, that Central Valley School District has priority use over our fields. And that's based on a user agreement, a 20-year user agreement. A lot of people don't know that. And some people in the league don't know that and don't understand why CE gets priority. Well, we have a user agreement within the states, they get priority over everybody. So we have to abide by that. So just clarifying some misconceptions tomorrow night that have been brought to my attention about the reservations, about who gets to use it, about the fact that there isn't enough space. And then council can have the discussion with the league about what they want to do. I'm providing some options. Some of them I wouldn't recommend as a staff member, but it's an option if council wanted to trump staff and say, no, we need to move forward and do that.
And this is just baseball?
This is just baseball. So I have a PowerPoint presentation I'm gonna provide. Some of those options would be, well, we could renovate Rocky Hill Park and add baseball fields up there. It would take a renovation. You've got the drop in the middle of the park, which doesn't make it conducive. Speak in citizen comments.
Yes, thank you.
You know, things like that Orchard Park, it's not conducive for any sort of a sports field because of the way it's set up and the fact that it's got lines going through the middle of it. Pavilion Park is not a good option, although it could be done. But I wouldn't recommend it because you take out all those soccer fields that are heavily utilized and you lose the revenue off of that. So anyway, just trying to find a solution to help this group find more field space. And I don't think they're gonna find it on city property, but the council members don't seem to understand that and know that. So I'll hopefully shed some light that we don't have any other property, but
The Rocky Hill flag football people would not be happy.
yeah, and the soccer and rugby up there. So that's what that is about. Trailhead opening, talk about that. Shade structure at Rocky, we're still following up, but hopefully that's gonna be a late summer or fall project. all the movie nights and the activities in the parks or. Well, Rotary Room Right isn't really in the park, but that's gets you through September, early September anyway. Lots of projects we're working on. I tell you what, the projects this year are just coming out of nowhere and it's a little bit challenging to try to keep up with everything else, so. At some point, there's gonna come a point where I just say, I can't do it anymore. I don't know, so we may need a recreation person next year or something. I'm not sure what the solution there is, but.
Are there
it's
any
a lot.
additional positions for parks in the proposed 2024 budget?
We haven't even discussed staffing yet. Let's see here, so, yeah, that's been very busy. I did follow up with Story Walk. Hoop Town starts tentatively next Monday, so that's awesome. We've got the artists connected with the, yes.
Can I comment on that?
Sure.
I received an email from the artist this morning. She's been in contact with several artists that have done this work in Bergfront Park, and she's been in contact with the contractor that's doing the resurfacing. And also with the leader of the project Backboard, and so they're recommending a different paint than what she had planned on using, which has different palette options, so she's revamping her proposal with a different color palette, so to let us see, but there is a cost difference. So I know we're under budget on there, I just wanted to put the idea maybe for next month, once we have better information.
Yeah.
To maybe cover the cost
Yeah.
difference between
Okay.
the paint to help her cover that cost, because from a maintenance perspective, I'm sure you would agree that we want to do the
Oh,
higher
yeah.
quality product to make sure there's more longevity in the port surface,
Sure.
but I also don't want.
Yeah, we don't,
Yeah.
that's not one that we wanna make sure everything is
We
right.
want to make sure we're using, and the paint that she was planning on using is what the other muralist had used to begin with, but they're now seeing, you know, the vibrancy of the work is declining and the maintenance requirements on it are earlier than anticipated. So she's just bringing that forward now. She has not asked for additional funding. I'm just floating that out there. If we have the money to be able to cover the cost difference in materials, just, I want to build a reputation of being a good partner with the artists that we're working with.
Plus, it'll save us in money in the long run.
Yes,
Yeah.
so she's gonna revamp her proposal, she's gonna show us what the other color palette options are to make sure that we're still in agreement with it.
Okay.
And then we can go from there, but I didn't want anyone to be surprised in August.
I'm guessing they'll be close, I mean.
Color wise, I don't think there'll be a big difference, I just know the paint, she said it's more expensive, so again, just we're under.
Worth
budget.
every penny if that's gonna save us on maintenance.
Yes, I just wanted to put that in front of the commission now, so it's.
And we have more basketball courts, so we want to be a good partner.
Yes, exactly.
So that, then on Story Walk, as the stands are all at powder coat right now. I don't know how long that's gonna be, but we're all set up with the vendor so that the city will pay the powder coat directly, so there's no reimbursing challenges and whatnot shuffling around. And it sounds like, the third week of August, I believe, tentatively is when they were looking at install at Orchard Park.
And we have the locations scoped out and everything.
I have no idea.
I have no idea.
Do you remember who met with staff at Rocky and scoped that out? Was that David or Lena?
Hi, David and Lena and Mark.
So any volunteers would be wonderful to work with staff on picking a location. Maybe Tom, maybe you'd be the best one because of the Winter Glow
I agree.
to help him pick.
I put it on the flag segment.
So why do you mind? Is that something you have time to coordinate with Trevor Slocum
Sure.
to pick a spot?
I can go with you if you want more
Just have to
support.
give you a call. I'm down.
Does that work for everybody? It kind of makes sense.
Cause we can light them up too.
Because we want to think about, yeah, right, we want to think about airflow and will it or won't it have an effect on placement?
Is there gonna be a special bed like at Rocky Hill or just in the grass or?
You know, you should be able to read them from the sidewalk.
Yeah.
But I haven't thought that far ahead yet or spoken with staff.
That was one thing, when we had talked with Rolf, he had said the accessibility, he felt like they were a little far from the sidewalk in Rocky, so that's maybe just something to keep in mind when we.
They just can't hang over the side.
They can't hang over, but be closer where it's easier to read without stepping into.
And
it.
that bark is not ADA accessible, so that's a good, that's
So
very good
something
feedback.
you brought.
And that's been a maintenance nightmare.
It is a maintenance nightmare, I will tell you.
Because they
yes.
took out the ground cloth and then
Yeah,
even more weeds came.
Yeah. no, I would just as soon figure out a way to concrete them and do some kind of a curve eyebrow thing up against the sidewalk so the mowers can just contour.
Mhm.
Start from that east parking lot
Mhm.
and just, that'll be start
So
and head towards.
open to suggestions from anyone on that, just the bark and the ripping out of sod and whatnot is
Just
a
because it's a
mess.
hill, so it's,
Yeah.
as far as driving things around and that stuff, so
Yeah,
it's not driven on that much.
I bet they could concrete that.
That would be ideal.
So bring that up when you meet with somebody out there.
Yeah, just after I give you a call.
Okay, I will. And I think that's kind of it. I did find out the last thing is Tinkergarten is going on pause this year, even though they have an agreement with us and they went through that process. She's got some conflict in personal or professional, I'm not sure, but she can't host it, but she's looking towards next year to do so. So we do have a 3-year agreement. So.
And then what about, when would, we need to update council next?
Next week. So we have 2 council meetings back to back Tuesday. We have one tomorrow night and we have one next Tuesday night. Next Tuesday night would be the normal Parks and Arts Commission update night. So yeah, thank you. I didn't put that on there. I meant to put that on there. Do we have any volunteers that would like to update city council?
I did last month.
I didn't right now. That was an interesting meeting.
Well, you can think about it and let me
It
know.
can be done also via Zoom.
Yeah, you don't have to be here in person.
What's the date on
Which 18? Yeah, 18.
that? I'm out of town.
If anything, I can give the update as well.
You're doing the baseball thing.
That's tomorrow night.
Oh, that's
Baseball's tomorrow night.
I don't think I can attend the meeting, but I'm happy to put together a couple slides like I did for last month if it's helpful.
That would be helpful for me if I end up giving it.
Let me know,
Yeah,
I have conflicts that night until,
Yeah, if somebody even wanted to just put something together, I'm happy to stand in.
I'm happy to put a couple slides together.
My brain is a
I
little.
might be able to, but I don't know right now. I need to
Yeah,
check.
that's fine.
My dog.
There's time, just let me know. I need to know by. Let's say this Friday. I can know by Friday. And have anything that you want me to present, otherwise I'll just give a high level.
But you'll make a few slides.
Slides.
Just like 2.
No more than 3.
No more than 3.
So this would just be, the 2 agreements that we're supporting that we voted on today, or that's totally separate?
Yeah, the 2 agreements, those would be good.
Skate
And
park.
skate park and, yeah, and whatever updates you feel they might wanna know of the town or not.
And our next meeting's the 7th, but do we want to go ahead and reschedule the one that's gonna fall on Labor Day
Yes.
to the 11th, which would be the following Monday? Of September 11th, that's a special day. A not good day. Parks and Arts.
Is that Monday open, Jenny? I know last time we rescheduled, we had to go 2 weeks out.
Yeah, it should be.
The 11th works for me.
Speaking of Labor Day, I want to let people know that thanks to Joe Frank and the Greenstone Foundation, we now have a 3-year contract with the Spokane Symphony.
Oh, nice.
And so now that we have a contract, I can start working with the symphony staff and getting everything coordinated, so when they come out on Saturday and Labor Day weekend, we're all set to go.
And then I'm working on a 3-year agreement with the city and Greenstone Foundation to reflect the symphony contract.
Yeah, so,
So that will be going, you could mention that Greenstone Foundation and symphony contract will be going forward, hopefully August 2nd is gonna be busy. And that will be new and different this year, because it's been a year to year for the Greenstone Foundation and the city.
but, you know, and this is the first time we've ever had a 3-year contract. It's always been year to year. So, I know that it makes it more comfortable for both organizations, the city and the symphony, to know that they have something to look forward to, for the next 3 years. So I'm just, you know, ecstatic, about that happening, and because that's my, you know, getting the symphony out there is one of the good things that I do every year.
Well, that's really nice to know.
Yeah.
Then you have to worry about it for a few years.
You're gonna vote on the.
Yes, do we have a motion to adjust the September meeting from September 4 to September 11? Yes, we have a motion from Tom. Do we have a second? A second from Noel. All in favor? Opposed? So the motion is approved. And anything else for the greater good? Then we're adjourned. Thank you.